everyone. How are you doing? Thank you for coming on this lovely pub weather type of night. Cool, so my name is Zoe. Do not bother with my last name. If you want to make me happy, call me Zoe. That's my actual name. But we'll go for Zoe for all the English speakers, okay? So I'm a senior UX designer here at Foolproof. Welcome to Foolproof. And I'm a lead instructor at General Assembly. And thank you to the couple of students that came. So I have been working in the digital industry since 2012, but I started from the enemy, marketing. No, sorry if there's any marketers, but I started as a digital marketer, and I actually studied advertising and psychology and all those things to manipulate people. And then I realized that I really loved what I do, but not how I did it. And I learned about UX. Then decided to start UX and find my calling ever since. Cool, I'm gonna kick us off with a little hands up survey. Who here thinks they work for a legacy-led company? I know I haven't defined what legacy is just yet, but that's on purpose. So this Foolproofer coming. Who thinks they work for a legacy-led company? Cool. Who thinks it's a good thing? Cool, I have the right audience. Okay, why do I design? I don't. My title is UX designer. I have a bit of a problem with that title. Designer means everything and nothing. I think we can all agree on that. And we have a massive problem in this industry with titles. So I do not design, I solve problems. It just happened that I use design methodologies to solve problems. So I'm going to go on a very quick history of what I mean by solving problems, by showing you a few of the work that I've done. I'm being very arrogant on this slide because of what problem I have solved. I might actually not have completely solved them, and I wasn't alone. Little disclaimer again. Okay, so I worked, for example, on ITV digital transformation, and that kind of what got me into understanding the problem between legacy and how to get legacy moving. And that problem was around how to modernize the tools they use within the company, so enterprise UX. Who has heard that term before, enterprise UX? Yeah, not many people. Okay, so just to be clear to everyone, again, enterprise UX is all about designing the internal tools. So not the stuff that you and me see on our phones, but the stuff that makes the apps on our phone work internally in companies. I work for fashion, also in enterprise UX, how to basically unify the digital supply chain in a big British fashion brand that will remain nameless. Worked on Adobe Rush, cool product if you want to check it out, but basically we had a little of a research and design piece how to communicate to their client and customer, and worked on service design project also, like Avis. Cool, so all of these great projects are why I want to talk to you about injecting some lean into legacy-led organization. In order to do this, I'm going to start with lean. I'm going to define what I mean by this, so we all have the same understanding. And then I'll finally define legacy, mostly through the use of memes and GIFs. People suddenly pay attention. Okay, so what does lean mean? So when I first asked myself that question, I was like, well, if you don't just think about design, it means meager, design can mean efficient, it means without fat if you go to the supermarket, strip back, okay? When I went to Thesaurus to find synonyms, this is what I found. Yeah, poor, scanty, gangling, raw-boned, pitiful. So that's not what we're going to talk about. So then I went into Google and just typed lean definition. So I all invite you to lean with me, okay? That's the definition of Google. Don't worry, we're not here to talk about a deviation from the perpendicular and inclination. We're here to talk about lean methodology. Okay, so lean methodology is all about testing fast. It's all about Nike, just do it, okay? You have an idea, build something. That will create a product. You put that product out there to measure the success of that product. You gather all that data, re-input that data because you learn about all this, and then that creates new ideas, etc., etc. Don't only think about product when you think about lean. That's kind of the bulk of my talk, okay? Now you can all go home. When we talk about build, basically it's act. No matter what you do, act. Do something. We can put it on research. So instead of just thinking about an idea, do a very quick research. When we think about product, it doesn't have to be a finished coded product, okay? A prototype will do. Or some guerrilla research. Just go out there. Even if the target audience is not perfect, at least you'll get something. Just act, just do it. That's what lean is. However, it rarely stands on its own. If you heard lean, you heard agile, okay? Agile is about the process, it's the method, it's the ideology behind it all. It's the whole idea that we work in sprints. Those sprints are roughly 2 weeks. We work in teams with different types of capabilities, and we collaborate, okay? All of this, if you've heard about lean, if you learned about agile, wait for it. There's the third one that always comes. Design thinking, okay? And I'm like, yeah, I know those three. I'm a designer. Okay, so design thinking is about people. It always comes also when we talk about lean and when we talk about agile. It's basically telling us, hold on, we're not just talking about our users here. So is the methodology is going to bring us all together? So it's saying to the UX designers, yeah, sure, the end user is really important, but we need to make money here. This needs to be viable. And the tech is saying, well, you have a really beautiful fancy app, but this is not feasible, okay? So this is also very important. Design thinking is about embracing uncertainty. It's about understanding that knowing nothing, like Jon Snow, is actually a good thing, okay? You go for it, you jump into it. And more you go through the research, more the fog disappears. The secret, you ready? Is that we all do it all, okay? I know people get really bogged down on terminology and on processes and methodologies. If you hear someone say, no, we are very lean, sure, but you use design thinking and you use agile. No, we're 100% agile, scrum, scrum, scrum. Sure, but from time to time you might need to be lean. And the entire process all rests on design thinking, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Your job, essentially, except if it's not your job because you do not work in this industry, but if you work in this industry, your job is to use the right tool for the right job. Okay? Don't get lost in terminology. All of this is a bunch of it's a toolbox, a bunch of tools that we use according to what we have. Context, right? Context is what we need all the time in order to do our job properly. You're not going to make great pancakes if you only use a plate and a microwave. You need a proper frying pan, right? And believe me, I'm French, okay? Be flexible. That's what this is about. Understand that you need to be lean, but lean doesn't just mean getting bogged down in details. It doesn't just mean jump. It means understanding your vision, understanding where you're going, design thinking, remember, big picture, and understanding also the finer details and understand that you need to know more about those finer details. And this is how you'll get your quick wins. Okay, now, was legacy. Anyone epileptic here? Close your eyes. Okay, no, it's not that bad, don't worry. This is legacy. Legacy is a big card castle. Beautiful image, right? Beautiful CGI card castle that is scary and kind of wiggly, and you don't really know what to do with it because it's been here for decades and you don't know exactly what's on the card because you're kind of like looking around and saying, oh, I think there's a queen here. It's kind of a Frankenstein monster. That's what legacy is. It's all these different layers of teams and decades added on a software that makes it almost impossible for the new guy or new girl to come in and actually do their job because it's too convoluted and complicated. And it's that beautiful thing that every single time you try to improve something, kind of feels like that. And it's soul crushing because in reality it looks like this. Now, who here still thinks they're working for a legacy company? We have more hands now than we had at the beginning. Okay, so why should we inject some lean? Why should we inject some lean into legacy-led organization then? I'm going to give you a minute. Actually, I might read it so if people in the back can't read it. So the first one is, are you ready to meet about our digital transformation? We can't see your slides. Do you need to download the plugin? We restrict it to Internet Explorer. Okay, try to email the slides deck, but it bounced back. Our file limits, it's 1 megabyte. Dropbox or WeTransfer, blocked by our firewall. Google Doc, yeah, right. I'm not sure how to present this to you. Can you fax it to us? Sounds familiar? Yeah? Okay. That was my day. Okay? That was my day with my client. Ended up not being able to do the interview. Gonna have to find another way, but I still haven't figured out which. Okay, so my question is, why should we inject some lean into legacy-led organization? Because we are bogged down by all those processes, by all those security and firewalls that are not just in our technology, but in the way we work, okay? Why, if any of you are UX designer, you know about the 5 whys. So whenever we ask people why you do this, why you do that, at the end of the day, what we hear, the last answer is always, well, I don't know, it kind of always been like that. Okay? We also have to do it for a bunch of buzzwords that you all have heard. Love that meme, by the way. Digital transformation, employee experience, service design mindframe, design thinking, this one again. Be more lean. Okay? All these words are buzzwords, but they are important. And basically, the only thing they're talking about is think in a more holistic way about what you're doing. Everything that you do in your company, for your clients, needs to bring value. And we're not just talking about digital product. That's why digital transformation is actually a very stupid word. We're talking about transforming the entire way we work. And it's about processes, it's about human. And if we want to get it right, we just need to do it. So how does it work in practice? First case study, fashion. Okay, I can't say the name, but yeah, big British fashion brand. Basically, imagine you have an idea of a concept of a dress. We'll take a dress, and this product starts from the idea straight to being available worldwide on the website. In order for that to happen, it needs to go through 5 different departments in London, okay? What happens is that entire life is mapped for 7,000 products for 1 season, so it's a few times a year, on a master spreadsheet. Sounds familiar? The spreadsheet would take 24 hours to open, okay? Or because of that problem, all of these teams have their version of the master spreadsheet. So every week, the manager of all of these teams needs to meet to transfer the information into the master spreadsheet. I've been in one of those meetings. They are at each other's throat. Okay? Because it's scary. If you make a mistake, there's going to be so much money wasted. So what did we do? This was a very complex problem. So we broke it down. Instead of looking at one big software that we had to do, we created 5 simple MVPs. But we looked at the macro and micro, remember? So the micro was each team. The macro was what we needed at the end. One software that would give visibility to everyone. So we made sure we had a vision for that macro software. And then every single MVP would be able to go and work together like Lego. And then at the end, when we finished all of those MVPs, we just had to create a dashboard where all of the information will go in, okay? What happened here? We just started, we just did it. We just went and done 2 weeks of like initial discovery where we talked to everyone, as many people as we could, and we understood that, okay, maybe if they all have different problems, but at the end what they really want is to see what everyone is doing. So we went and did smaller project in order to make the whole thing fit in our time frame. Conscious of time, guys, so I'm going a bit faster. So, second thing, be nimble, be gorilla, okay? Ask lots of questions. Remember that? Lean into the uncertainty. See what I've done here? Okay, so be lean in your research. Just go out there. The Adobe project that I showed you, we didn't have upfront research scheduled in. Fine, that's okay. It doesn't have to be scheduled in. It doesn't have to be planned. What we did, we just called a bunch of students at General Assembly, put something on Slack at General Assembly, went there and said, has anyone ever edited any video? Obviously some people have. We went there and talked to them. That gave us the first slight steer of where we're going to have our big research coming after. We did the same thing for Avis. We literally went to Heathrow, went on their shuttle, Avis shuttle, and actually talked to people in the shuttle, okay? Proper captive audience. We asked them about their experience. And this is not like the big, costly, usual type of research you have. Sure, it doesn't give the same insight, but it gives insight, and that's what people forget. So this is a start, and that start is going to save you so much time down the line. Also, be lean in your tools and your communication. Anyone knows Miro, real-time board? Okay, so you already done half the job. Any type of tool like this, which is basically an online collaboration whiteboard, is really helpful, okay? Or use Slack for communication. Try to have your clients on Slack. Don't get bogged down by processes. We've always done it like this, or we've never done this before. Good, try it. Try things constantly. Always try to improve your processes. Always try to reduce the time for communication. What do we do with Miro? Whenever we start a project here, we create 2 Miros. 2 boards, okay? One for the team that is full of memes and is very messy, this one. And one for the client that is taking all of this, but it's actually making sense of it and in a linear matter. So what does it mean? It means that twice a week they have new stuff on there. So they prepare their questions, they feel involved, and we don't have surprises at the end. My last case study, last point around this is fight to get access to your users, okay? You need to have actual conversation with people. Being on site makes the difference. This was for ITV. That software, we did contextual inquiry. So we actually sat down with the users in order to understand how they were using it. And they kept on having those very annoying, error message, like, literally every 30 minutes, And we didn't understand why. And we asked, obviously, because we noticed that on a few people. What happened is, ITV used to send tape in order to send media. Okay, makes sense, old company. Now, no one sends tape anymore. It's all digital. But this tool was created more than 20 years ago. So in order to get to the next step, you had to enter a FedEx number. And that was a required thing, okay? If we had not been there and fought to get regular access to our users in order to be leaner in our communication, we would not have known that, because that's not something users tend to think about, because that's just the way it is. Okay? Wrapping up here, it's all about UX strategy and common sense. Okay? Common sense part is just do it, just test it, just talk to people. Remember this? Thinking about the big picture and the details, and having that side cut that is going to give you that quick win that will allow you to get further. Get it right as soon as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, it has to be good enough just so you can carry on. Always juggle between that overall vision and those details that are going to give you that really good product that your stakeholders are going to respect you for. A book that I recommend is Lean versus Agile versus Design Thinking. And basically, you kind of guessed the idea of that book, right? Especially from my talking from the beginning. But here's what Jeff, I can never say his name right, sorry. I know this is film Gothel, maybe. Jeff. Here's what Jeff is saying. So first, work in short cycle, okay? If we think lean, we think agile, it's short burst, and we have that vision, we're going to hit that vision, but we have a plan full of short cycle to hit that vision. Hold regular retrospective, talk with people, it's all about the human, and those retrospective, hold them with your stakeholders too. Put the customer at the center of everything. I think we all know that here. But go and see. You don't have to be a UX designer in order to attend those research sessions. Don't interrupt the researcher, but attend them, okay? Go and see how people actually use your product. Balance product discovery and delivery work by only testing high-risk hypotheses. We don't need to test everything. That's a lie, okay? This stuff, like, we know, we have expertise. We know that if we make the buttons bigger, people are going to see it better, okay? We don't need to test that 15 times. We can just ship it and have analytics on it. We don't need to do a prototype for a button, okay? Have good, high-risk prototype and go test these. Do less research, but more often. You don't need to speak to 12 people every single round of research. But if you manage to speak to 3 to 5 people regularly, that might give you better insights. Work and train as a balanced team, cross-functional. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Cross-functional is very important. Radical transparency, that's mirror for you, okay? Visibility, not just within the team, with the stakeholders. Review your incentive structure, so make sure that performance is not agile, for example, in Scrum, okay? Performance is not just linked to shipping things faster. It needs to be linked to adding value to our end user, not just to shipping things faster, okay? And make product discovery work a first-class citizen on the backlog, okay? Research and discovery is not a nice to have. It's literally what's going to give you your vision and your direction for the rest of the sprint. So make sure it's a first-class citizen. Cool, rant over. Here's are some books that I've used in order to create that talk. I obviously encourage all of you to read them. Pictures are taken. And now that I have explained why you need to inject some lean into legacy-led organization, I hope you all agree with me. And you'll have the opportunity to tell me if yes or not. any questions. Thank you.